Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's UCD Global Live video, where we are going to be talking about federal aid. My name is Tiernan, and I am joined today by my colleague, Aidan Prinsloo, who is our International Funding and Scholarships Officer at UCD Global. Aidan, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi everyone. So as Aisling said, my name is Aidan Prinsloo. My formal title at UCD is International Funding and Scholarships Officer. I am also the Federal Aid Student Administrator at UCD. So if you are planning on taking out US federal loans while you're here, I am your main point of contact for most of your loan work and hopefully your best friend. So.
That's good to hear. Today, Aidan, we're going to be talking through some of the frequently asked questions we get from students who are going through the federal aid process. And this is aimed really at current offer holders and prospective students who are coming or looking to come to study at UCD in September 2020. Might add, this is actually a really great exercise for me to get involved in. I don't work very closely with federal aid students, so I'm hoping to learn something through this video as well.
Great.
So the first question, Aidan, is how does federal aid work at UCD?
All right, so just in case you don't know, UCD is approved by the US Department of Education to administer direct loans for students. I'm very careful about that word administer. We don't do the loans, we don't give the loans. We're really just working for the US Department of Education over here. So if you're planning to take out loans and you're an American citizen or an eligible non-citizen from the US, you'll be really taking your loans from the US Department of Education, and we'd be making sure that everything goes smoothly and correctly. When I say direct loans, I mean a couple of categories of loans over here. They are your subsidized and unsubsidized loans, which have got very low interest rates, and then also your graduate plus or parent plus loans. And these are really depend on whether you're an undergraduate student who is dependent on your parents or whether you're a postgraduate student who is expected to have your own means to do things. So just a big thing I really want to highlight over here is that even though we're doing a lot of the administration, it is with the US Department of Education. Your first point of call if you're a student and you're curious about US loans should be the US government's website, studentloans.gov or studentaid.gov. It's there that you can check whether you're eligible, how to fill out your FAFSA, and what you can do. The last thing I'm going to point out over here is that because we are outside of the US, we can only offer you direct loans. That means that there are no Pell Grants, no Teach loans or Teach grants, none of the other supports that you would usually think of as part of federal student aid. It's just student loans here.
Okay, cool. Understood. Thanks, Aidan. So how do I get started and what would I need to do to apply for a loan at UCD?
So the very first thing you're going to do, if you are eligible, and of course you need to check with the US Department of Education if you are eligible, is to go and complete your FAFSA. That's an online application for loans where the US Department of Education will check to see what amounts you are eligible for. When you complete your FAFSA, you need to remember to select UCD as one of your preferred institutions. Our OPE ID, that's our university identity number, is G10188. G10188. When you select that, you'll see UCD come through. Alternatively, when you do your FAFSA, type in Dublin and select University College Dublin as one of your options. You can select up to 8 universities when you're doing your FAFSA. Once you've completed your FAFSA, you will get a student aid report from the Department of Education. We call it a SAR, okay? Before you do anything else, read through your SAR. Make sure that you've got no outstanding issues. The front page is going to tell you if they can't find your social security number, if there is something they think you've misfiled, or if they think that you wouldn't be eligible. So before we even have a look at your SAR, we're going to expect that you have a look at it and say, hey, I've got some unresolved issues here. Let me sort them out before I talk to the federal aid officer at UCD. Once you get your SAR, everything's sorted out. you should email federalaid@ucd.ie. That's federalaid@ucd.ie. What I will do then is I will email you our cost of attendance calculator, COA, and our federal aid instruction brochure. Please be sure to read through the instruction brochure. I know it's a bit long and a little bit complicated. It's partially because loans are a complicated process in general, but we've designed the instruction brochure to help you through every step of the process. And I tell you now, I see hundreds of applications, and I can tell you exactly who's read the brochure and who hasn't. It really makes a world of difference if you do. We will need to get a bunch of documents from you by the 31st of July. That's, again, keep that date in your mind, 31st of July. So long as we get your documents before then, we will be able to disperse your first loan disbursement at the beginning of semester in September. Cool.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Aidan. So 31st of July is important. That gives students 3 months really. So May, June, July to get this in order. If I'm a student, how much federal aid am I entitled to?
All right. So first things first, again, remember we only do loans. So that's the main thing. The law for federal aid loans is that you are allowed to borrow up to the maximum indicated by your COA calculator, with a few exceptions. But let's talk about the exceptions at the end. So your COA calculator calculates how much you would need to cover your tuition and living expenses in Dublin. It's worthwhile noting that we are working across 2 different currencies. You're borrowing in US dollars and receiving your money in euros. Because of that, we have to set your COA calculator with a worst case exchange rate in mind. So the maximum number that's shown on your COA calculator is higher than you'll actually need. And keep in mind that this is also a maximum. It's not a recommended serving. It's not what you should be taking out to get here. It's literally, what's the ceiling? You can request anything under that ceiling amount. And what we really strongly advise, if you're looking to take out loans, do your own homework, do your budget beforehand, figure out how much you want to take, then look at your COA calculator and adjust underneath that ceiling limit over there. As I said, there's a couple of exceptions over there, and the one big exception is if you are an independent undergraduate student. Now, an independent undergraduate student is usually someone who's older than 23, who may be married or have been married in the past, or who may have finished military service. If you are any of those, you will not be eligible for a Parent Plus loan for your undergrad, and you also will not be eligible for a Graduate Plus loan because you'll be doing your undergrad, okay? In that case, you will have reduced access to loans. You will not be able to take federal loans up to your total cost of attendance. Now, we are able to work around a couple of things over there. We do have a couple of options, but I strongly recommend that if you are an independent undergraduate student, email federalaid@ucd.ie and we can talk through your options over there. Perfect.
Thanks, Aidan. And I guess, yeah, it's such an important point, but like with so many things, if you have questions, to reach out to us directly, because each student's circumstances may be different. So I think that's really, really helpful. So Aidan, let's say I've submitted my application for the US financial aid on UCD SysWeb. When do I find out if I will get my loans and if I get what I requested?
Cool. So the first thing to say over here is that when it comes to federal student loans across all universities, they have one of 2 types of policies. We're either an opt-in policy or an opt-out. Once you've submitted your application on SysWeb, UCD is an opt-out university. That means that unless we hear otherwise from you, we're going to process your application and deliver loans to you. Now, we will confirm along several points how much you're going to be eligible for and all those things. But essentially, what you've put in your COA, that final amount under your request column, is what we will originate for you. That is, create for you when it comes to your loans. So what's going to happen? Let's say you've clicked submit on SysWeb. You see application submitted, documents waiting for review. In a few days, or maybe a couple of weeks, we'll review it. And provided everything's all right, we'll change the status to application approved, loan origination pending. What that means over there is that we have approved the amount you've requested in your COA, and we will go log on to the US Department of Education's loan origination system in August and create your loans then. In August, when we do that, you will receive another automated email from the US Department of Education this time, telling you how much has been originated, who your loan servicer is, and when your first disbursement is expected. Now, just to help you out there as well, in your COA, there is an automated 2-semester or 3-semester award letter. These award letters tell you exactly how much and when your disbursements are going to be throughout the academic year. How do you know if you're a 2-semester or a 3-semester kid? Very, very easy. If you are on a taught master's program, a research master's, or a PhD program, you're on a 3-semester disbursement cycle. That's a 3-semester award letter. Everyone else, undergraduate, graduate entry medicine, or veterinary medicine, you're on 2-semester award cycle. That means you get 2 different disbursements throughout the year. And that's it. Easy as that.
Very easy. Very, very easy. I'm learning a lot here, Aidan, which is great. So look, I know we've already done a separate recording about scholarships, but in terms of I'm a FedAid student, I've received a scholarship. Is there anything I should additionally that I need to know when I'm applying for federal aid?
So let's go back to your cost of attendance calculator, COA over there. When we work out how much you're eligible for, one of the things we need to factor in is what kind of financial support you're getting from other means that we can then subtract from your total loans that you're eligible for. And trust me, this is a good thing, okay? The €2,000 scholarship or €10,000 scholarship that you're getting there is euros that aren't going to be accruing interest, whereas every dollar of loans that you take will accrue interest, okay? So when you fill out your COA, you need to declare all scholarships you're in the receipt of. We have 3 places for that on the COA. There is a space for scholarships that you're receiving from UCD itself in euros. There is a space for scholarships that you might be receiving from other European entities in euros. And there is a space for scholarships or other kinds of financial aid that you might be receiving from the United States in dollars. You absolutely must declare scholarships or financial aid that you're receiving in those areas so that we can accurately calculate the loans that you're eligible for. If you don't do that and we later on find out that you have received a scholarship, unfortunately, we may need to return part of your loans. And I don't like doing that. It becomes quite complicated, especially when we look at how the exchange rate might often mean that you end up paying more than you received in the first place.
Okay. That's really helpful. So declare it up front, let us know on your COA, and it'll be taken into account in how much of a loan you are awarded. So that brings me to my final question, Aidan, and I'm interested to know what other loan and aid options am I eligible for at UCD?
So outside of US federal loans, UCD is also approved to administer 3 other types of loans, or 3 other types of federal aid. And the one is not even for American citizens. The one is for Canadian citizens. If you are a Canadian student, you'll be eligible for Canadian provincial student aid. Now, luckily with that, the administrative burden is primarily with your provincial office. If you are a Canadian citizen, you want to find out what kind of aid you can get, please reach out to your student aid office for your province or territory, and they will give you the forms that you need to do. If you need anything signed, please get hold of me at federalaid@ucd.ie, and I will do it for you. Next up, if you are an American citizen, the 2 kinds of funding that you would be eligible for outside of US federal loans is Sallie Mae private loans. This is the only private provider outside of the US that you may be eligible for. And Veterans Affairs funding. Okay, that's GI Bill funding for students who have served the US Army or whose parents have served in the US Army and are eligible for benefits through that service. Again, if you are eligible or you think you may be eligible for either one of those, email federalaid@ucd.ie and I will guide you through the steps to apply.
Okay.
There we are.
Thank you so much. I have learned a lot in this discussion, but I also hope, you know, if you're watching this, if you're applying for a federal aid loan, I hope that you found this discussion useful. Aidan, is there anything else you want to add at this point?
So only thing I will always say, I can't say it enough, go back to that brochure if you're taking out federal aid loans. There's so much going on there and we try and make it as easy and accessible as possible. I know it is quite a complicated process. I definitely sympathize with all the students going through it and I'm here to help you out, but definitely go through that brochure. There's a lot more in there than we could cover in today's video and I'd really encourage you to look through it.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you, Aidan. Thank you, anyone who's watching this video. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll be in touch soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.